Spatchcock Funk in the house, our house, and your house too. You know where the party's at? Wherever you're at. We're gonna teach you how to throw the best parties, the best dinners, the best get-togethers. All you need are the people that you love, and we'll take care of the rest. Spatchcock Funk, dope food, strong drinks, great stories. Nothing drives us crazy like throwing great parties and building strong friendships. Now, great relationships, great anything, great food are built on one key ingredient: surprise, variety. And we love variety everywhere. We like variety in the kitchen, we like it in the bedroom, in the backyard, anywhere we can find it. So we gathered some of our best friends, made some really cool food, got all the fixins, and we're gonna throw a party at an American classic, the Drive-In Theater. We're ready to get this thing going, ready to party with you. So this is driving you crazy. To bring up that awesome nostalgic vibe that we want for a drive-in movie theater party, we're gonna make an American classic drink, but we're gonna throw some booze in it, you know what I mean? So this is going to be a boozy root beer float that we call the Root Down. Now, root beer has this really cool part of American history. It's been around since the 1840s, and actually it's made from the sassafras root, so that's the rooty flavor that you get out of it. But the sassafras tree itself is awesome to us because you get root beer out of it, and also the leaves are ground, and that creates gumbo filet, the powder, the active ingredient in things like gumbo and other awesome dishes. So gumbo, root beer, booze, you got us all ready to go. To start this thing out though, one of the things that we do with it is we make a boozy whipped cream. This becomes the float action in it. Now, boozy whipped cream, basically any whipped cream, you can just take confectioner sugar, heavy cream, which we got in the freezer, vanilla, and then just whip it up and you're gonna have it. But we like to infuse it with different flavors. So today we're gonna use 2 tablespoons of rum to give it a boozy flavor too. And with leftover whipped cream, there's a couple things you can do with it. For starters, if the kids have been really pretty obnoxious all day, give them some boozy whipped cream, get them to bed early. Looking for some more fun in the bedroom? Boozy whipped cream. Feel me? It's really cool to make whipped cream, and the thing is, you gotta keep things cool to get it done. So what we have is a big metal mixing bowl that we've had in the freezer for at least 20 minutes. We also put the beaters in there too, because we want the cold to be through there. And finally, we put our heavy cream in the freezer too for about 20 minutes before we got started. It won't freeze solid yet. We're gonna add a 1 pint of heavy cream, heavy whipping cream as it's also called, into our big metal bowl. Then we're gonna add in a 1/2 cup of confectioner sugar. The powdered sugar just works better as you're beating it there. So what we're gonna do first, before we add in everything else, is we're gonna slowly and then start increasing the intensity until we start getting a smoother mix, and then we're gonna keep going. This is gonna take about 5 to 10 minutes if you're doing it right. Now we're gonna add in 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. That's gonna play a big role in today's cocktail. We're gonna add in 2 tablespoons of a dark spiced rum, which also is gonna play today. Then we're gonna get back to beating it until we start forming stiff peaks, look like little teeny mountains. Now, the whipped cream is going to be pretty luxurious, which is how we like to roll. So you're gonna have it, and it looks like kind of like a mountain range, like waves of whipped cream. And it's kind of giving me some waves of excitement. So what we're gonna do though, to get ready for the party, we're gonna transfer this because we're bringing it to the drive-in. So what we're gonna do is we are going to scoop this into a container that can go into the freezer and travel well. So it should, for one of these containers, get almost to the top. And then I like to save a little bit of extra for some recreational purposes. We're gonna float onto this Root Down and assemble this cocktail, which we're gonna do on the tailgate of a truck at the drive-in movie theater. Come on, what's better than having a drink? Nostalgia, cocktails, friends, movies. That's how you do it. So we've got a mason jar full of ice. And first, we're gonna try to batch a little bit of the liquor. So we've got 21 ounces of dark spiced rum here. That's gonna give us around 2, maybe 3 cocktails for our 6 or 7 people that are there. And depending on how they're getting down. We're also gonna add in 3.5 ounces of pure vanilla extract our friend Katie made for us. Anytime you do something homemade from a friend, always do it. So we're gonna put that in there, and we're gonna give that a little bit of a stir. And the big deal with these type of things, when you're making drinks, always try to go about 1.5 ounces of booze per person. We like our drinks strong, but also where you can taste a lot of the other flavors too. So what we're gonna do next is add in the appropriate amount of booze, which I'm gonna go, I got a heavy hand, a lot of heavy things on me. Then we're gonna add in root beer to top it off. I'm gonna get about to the neck. So you're looking at about 7 ounces of root beer. We're gonna give that another stir. Now comes some fun parts. Some of that frozen whipped cream. We're gonna put it in the top, and it's gonna start to melt a little bit already because whipped cream doesn't stay frozen for very long. And it's gonna start to see these beautiful creamy trails down the drink. And you know we like creamy trails. So, for more nostalgia, we are gonna top it with a really pretty bright red old school cherry. And then a little paper straw action. It works. Let's go to the movies. Not trying to be a jerk, but we're gonna make one of our favorite things, and that's beef jerky. But it can be venison jerky, turkey jerky, it all works with this recipe. Jerky's been done for hundreds of years, y'all. Whether you're going to the movie theater, the drive-in that we're going to, or you're about to pillage an island off the coast of Spain, pirates know how it works, we know how it works. This is a health food now, it's fun and trendy and just delicious. For us, the key ingredient with a big jerky is twofold. We're gonna put in 1 cup of soy sauce. This provides a lot of salt because really what it is we're salting meat. We're just gonna accelerate the process with which it cures. Then we're also gonna put in the other major active ingredient. We're putting in 4 teaspoons of liquid smoke. This is actually hickory liquid smoke. And liquid smoke is just like it sounds. It's actually condensated smoke particles that turn into a liquid. It creates a really robust smoky flavor, but be easy with it now because in the barbecue community, some people use it as a shortcut to make something taste like it was been in the smoker when it hasn't. And we wanna keep our ties cool with that community. We live off a barbecue, so this is a place where we think it's okay to use liquid smoke. For some heat, we've got 1.5 teaspoons of hot sauce. We also have a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now comes the dry side, y'all. We're gonna go in dry. We want 1 teaspoon of seasoned salt. You want 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of granulated garlic. Then we have 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Then we have 1 tablespoon of fresh thyme, just in time for this dish and just in time for that joke. And then 1 tablespoon of chopped up rosemary. At that point, we're gonna take it and we're gonna whisk it up. Then we're gonna add in 1/2 cup of water. Blend it pretty evenly. We're gonna set that aside. The meat here is about a 2.5, 2 3/4 pound cut of London broil. London broil, when it's treated right, can be a delicious, flavorful, tender piece of meat, but you gotta treat it right. So we're gonna cut all the way across the wide part and get ourselves 1/4-inch slices. We've got our beef, we're gonna put that in our marinade, and we're gonna let this sit at least overnight. We wanna make sure we get all this flavor in there. So some people use a dehydrator, some people use a smoker to do this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do it actually in the oven. So you can do this and you can have a snack for school, for tailgates, for a charcuterie board, for a healthy snack after the gym. Marinade's been going for 24 hours. We've been giving a couple shakes, couple stirs, keep the party going over there, really evenly distribute that sauce, that marinade. So we've got a wire rack that we're gonna take into a cookie sheet. So with the beef, what we wanna do is you're gonna put it onto the wire rack as close together as you can because the beef is actually going to shrink as it starts to lose moisture and while it's baking. So your oven is at 150 degrees. If your oven doesn't go as low as 150, 170 is fine. That's typically the standard lower temperature on an oven. We're gonna put it in that 170 oven for about 4 hours, and around then we're gonna take a bite of it and see if it's at our desired tenderness level. For us, it's usually around that time, but what we wanna do is you're gonna take a towel like this, right? And fold it till you get to a point a kitchen towel where it's like quartered. So it's gonna be maybe a 1/4 inch or so thick, and we're gonna use this to vent open the door. That'll allow moisture to leave, and you might just think I'm gonna leave my oven cracked, but don't. If you got dogs or cats, they'll bump into it. You might be walking around and it might shut on you. So this will help the cooking time and really help dry out and dehydrate this beef. So let's put it in. All right, we've got our jerky out of the oven, and you can smell the smoke, you can get a hint of the salt, and the rosemary and thyme is just banging. This is what you want a really nice thing to smell like. Now you could even grill that if you did it in the morning, but it's gonna be a little salty for you. This has drawn out all the moisture, but we still get a really cool like pull apart flake of this awesome, tender yet tasty jerky. So this type of thing where you're at the movies, where we're going, you're in your backyard, a little bite of this after the gym, great protein, get you going. And we wanna be strong for this party.
Place smells so good.
Hi, how we
Hi,
doing?
how's it going?
We're in cheese heaven right now.
Ooh.
Awesome.
We're getting some ingredients for our party that we're throwing at the drive-in.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, cool. That sounds so awesome.
So we're gonna make a cheese popcorn.
Oh,
But
fun.
instead of cheddar, we're gonna go with Gouda because we want people to take it,
Yeah.
be surprised, like, yo, this is really Gouda.
Uh-huh.
Because it's really Gouda. Because it's really Gouda, that's
Gotta be a
the joke.
better Gouda joke.
I can make a bad joke.
Anyways.
Okay, you got any good Gouda?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a really great Gouda. It's called Lemieux's Signature Gouda. It's from the Netherlands. It's a cow's milk Gouda, really savory and nutty, really crystalline. We source it from Essex, which are really great. They really focus on quality and working on taste and stuff like that. So would you guys like to try it?
You know what,
Love
we're
it.
gonna get it anyways, but we need to try it
All
for
right.
sure.
All right, we'll make sure, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, great to see you. What's poppin'? We're gonna make this party pop off. You're having a party in the backyard, on your couch, going to the drive-in like we are, make your own popcorn. Now, people have been making popcorn for like 6,000 years. I'm talking like 4,700 BC in Peru, dudes were eating popcorn. Dinosaurs, all that stuff, it's pretty wild. So you can microwave it with the unsalted kind, that works too, just for this recipe if that's easy, but we're gonna pop our own. So we're gonna take a 1/2 cup of corn kernels, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and we're gonna put them into a heavy bottom pot, a heavy bottom like me, because I got one, and then we're just gonna heat it up over medium heat with a little jar until they all pop. It's gonna take about 5-6 minutes. Let's do it. Want to make this poppin', we've got to make the best toppings possible. So for our Gouda powder, that's the first thing we want to do. We want this to be Gouda, not Bada. So we've got 4 ounces of shredded Gouda on parchment paper on a microwave safe plate. This is important. What we're going to do is we're going to microwave it for 30 seconds at a time, these intervals for about 3 minutes, and it's going to slowly melt into one solid piece. But what allows us to do is not let it get burned and keep an eye on it. So we're going to put it in at 30 seconds at a time. We've taken it out of the microwave, and now it's gonna be a nice, firm disc. What we wanna do after that, after the parchment paper, is we're gonna take it again and let it cool for another 5 minutes on some paper towel and get rid of as much of the moisture as we can. We've let it cool for a while. Now we have a Gouda disc, like a Frisbee. I wanna throw to Alex because he's good at catching things like footballs, softballs, feelings sometimes. We're gonna take this and we're gonna put it into a freezer bag, about a gallon size shape. We're gonna put it in there and we're gonna kind of break it as we go. And as we break it up, what we wanna do is get to the point where we can really crush it into a powder. Now, some people use a food processor, which I like food processors. They're very complicated for someone like me. But you can also use quick chops, those work as well. What we like to do though, because we can put a beating on things and throw some spankings around, is beat it with a wooden spoon. We've pounded this up. Everybody needs a good pounding now and again. We're gonna add in a 1/4 teaspoon of some cornstarch. This is gonna give us a little bit more of a velvety flavor and also allow it to get more of that powder feeling we need on it. So we're gonna take that in the bag, shake it up a little bit, give it a couple more smacks, get that good and mixed up. Okay, now we're gonna mix up our popcorn. We're gonna start with the Gouda. We're gonna take a 1/2 cup of melted butter. And we love using the bags because it allows us to really get a good, even distribution on it. So we're gonna have some good butter in there. Then we're gonna add in our crushed Gouda and cornstarch mixture. So there's our flour. And now let's get baking. For the truffle oil, we've got a really good truffle oil. Truffle oil has a very low burning point. So when you cook with it, always add at the end. If it's too hot, it'll burn off all the flavor. So we're gonna put some of that in there first. And we're gonna go at least like a tablespoon of it. We wanna use a lot of this beautiful flavor. First, we're gonna shake that. The outsides of the bag, you'll see that the popcorn is getting coated. The more you see that, you know it's working better. Then we're gonna shake in about a half cup or so of some grated Parmesan cheese and about a quarter cup of some dried parsley to give it some more color. Then we're gonna give it another shake. Now what you might do is you can put these inside other bags to bring with you on the road. That's typically how we roll, and then put them in serving containers. Or if you're having them at home, you can put them in your popcorn bowl and get ready to start watching. Let's make sure we're in good shape here. Very Gouda. It's tough to make things so good. Welcome to the big leagues, y'all. We're making junior varsity mints, and this is the sweet treat for our night tonight. And when you're hanging out with your sweetie watching a movie, you want something that's kind of sweet, that's gonna take the edge off of all the spicy, all the nice stuff you've got going on. And this brings back the nostalgia, like waiting in line at the concession stand, getting that cardboard box. We can do it at home, so it works on the couch, in your backyard, at the drive-in. The other thing too with this is it's minty, right? So let's say you wanna make a move at the theater, like one of the yawn moves. Having that fresh breath, this really gets you in the place you gotta go. So we are gonna make junior varsity mints. When you're using a mixing bowl, don't be a baby Matt. When I was in the first grade, my mom now laughs at the story, but in the first grade she did not. We were making something in pudding, right, in class, and I took out the mixers and sprayed the entire classroom. So funny now, not funny then. You wanna have a big enough bowl to keep all that stuff in there. So what we're gonna put in there first is 3 ounces of room temperature cream cheese. You can use whipped cream cheese if you want, but we're just let it sit out for 20 minutes. Beat it up. Now we've got it nice and light and fluffy. We're gonna use a spatula and bring it all back into the center of the bowl. But you see how now it's much more pliable and much more bendy, you know? And after a couple turns, things sometimes get bendier, and we kind of like that. So then we're gonna add in a 1/4 teaspoon to a 1/2 teaspoon of mint extract, but depends on how minty you want it. So what we gotta do is keep beating this until it's lighter and fluffy with the mint extract in it. Now we've got this mixture going, this mint cream cheese. Not good on bagels, but it's gonna be good in a few minutes. We're gonna add in a little at a time. We've got 3 cups of confectioner's sugar in here. Just a little at a time, then we're gonna beat it until it's stiff and then add some more. Okay, now we've got a really nice consistency. Good flavor too. We're gonna put this in the fridge for 10 minutes and let it harden so we can start scooping it into balls. Now it's time to make our chocolate coating. And like a good breakup, these are actually bittersweet chips, right? So a little bit bitter, a little sweet, all for the right reasons. And we're using dark chocolate to get a great coating on that, make it look good, shiny, tasty. So we've got 8 ounces of bittersweet dark chocolate chips, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, and we're gonna put this in the microwave too for about 30 seconds and keep checking on it until we get a good liquid consistency. We've got this velvety chocolate, and the coconut oil doesn't just give it a tropical feel, because you know we love tropical feels. It actually makes it more of a liquid. It makes it easier to pour and to cook with. So we've got a funnel. Now for all y'all out there, funnels are only used for funneling chocolate, cooking, and things like that. If you're under 35, you can use funnels for other things, and I'm sure there's exceptions to every rules, but we're gonna take a funnel, and we're gonna take our chocolate, and we're gonna put it into something like a squeezy bottle like we've got here, so that we can distribute and evenly kind of steer it. And you might need to push it down a little bit, and that's okay. because it's just liquid chocolate. Y'all aren't gonna wear uniforms to the drive-in, but we want our candies to look uniform. So we're gonna use molds like this, so they're all staying the same shape. So for this type of shape, which is gonna be around the size of a dime if it were a circle, we're gonna fill in each one about 3/4 of the way with this chocolatey goodness. We got them all filled, our molds, so now we took out our filling out of the fridge. Now, remember when your aunt would come over there and she'd give you a pinch and you've been growing so much? You want that size, and you're gonna roll it between your forefinger and your thumb, and you're gonna get it to about the size of, for me, my pinky nail, so a little bit about the size of a dime in one circle. Then you're gonna take it and you're gonna put it into one of those molds. We've stuffed them, now we gotta top them before we put them in the fridge to harden. And by harden, I mean like a great professional basketball point guard. We're taking all this chocolatey goodness onto a cookie sheet, tap it a couple times, let the bubble settle, and then we'll let it settle into the freezer for 10 minutes. It's coming out the way you would after a long stint in jail, right? Cold and hard. You pop it up, right? So fresh, so clean, Outcast will be proud. We're gonna leave these out overnight so it dries out a little bit. We can put them in a jar or a box. It'll travel perfectly without getting melted. And that's what we wanna do, is keep these things together and strong, just like you and your crew. Together, strong.
Is this the best root beer you've ever had?
You know what? It's not. The best one I ever had, I was 16, and there was no booze in it because I wasn't drinking booze at that time.
Yeah, right.
Right? Okay, so what it was, though, is I was actually in the Boy Scouts. We were on this big hike across New Mexico in the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, and part of the deal was we had to go 20 miles, but we had to stop at this place and pick up supplies and bring it to this other camp. And they gave us rented mules. You ever hear the phrase, like, you got beat like a rented mule? It's true, although I don't prefer to spank. I'd rather get spanked. But like the mule comes out, you load up all this weight on it, and like you'll be walking and leading along because they're carrying like 150 pounds, and you're like, you're not going to carry that. So all of a sudden they'll just stop, and you're like, all right, come on, mule, you know. And they,
Wait, how far were you walking?
20 miles. So it's like, is it the carrot or the stick? So literally, like the stick is you beat it on its rear end until finally it's like, okay, I'll start walking. Or the carrot is you put the carrot in front and they start like following the carrot. So after like 9 hours to get this way, we got there and they unloaded it. And then, again, like they can't fly or driving in there. So the mules are how they go back and forth to get this stuff done. So we got there and these dudes made homemade root beer, and it was the best root beer ever tasted after like chasing this mule around. Like I'm pushing them, everything. Like,
how many mules
do you think
yours have?
Maybe if you fed the mule the root beer.
Probably, but they didn't think of that. There were like 10 mules and like 12 of us. I mean, I want to ride one because they're cool and we had a bond. So we got the stuff unloaded and he and I were just chilling. I'm like patting him, you know, I gave him an apple, so I give him a carrot. So I'm like, yo, dude, let me hop on this thing. And he kind of like just doesn't do anything. So I go to get on there, and as I do, he kind of like goes forward, and I'm like, oh, and off he went. That was about it.
You fell off the back of it?
Oh yeah, right on my back. First time I've ever been put on my back, bro.
Buy a mule.
Buy a mule.
Like cars, you have to fuel and maintain great relationships. At Spatchcock Funk, nothing drives us more than finding ways to connect with our family and friends. And that's using dope food, strong drinks, and watching some great stories. I gotta go. I'm going to the movies.